Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam. Still 3 minutes, but do we foresee any new entrants? Till maybe one or two join. We are just doing a recap of the verse which we are going to take. Verse number 94, chapter 18. He says the whole chapter of goal, 100 verses, not one or two or 300 verses are glimpses of a liberated while alive Jivan Mukta given by Ashtavakra to Janaka. And then the last two chapters, the grandeur of self, 7 verses, 7 gems that also will be taken, Swami willing. And then the final absolute. Those two are the culmination, the response to the 100 verses by the Jivan Mukta, Videha Mukta Janaka to his Acharya. So, the verse goes like this. Latecomers can listen to the live, maybe one or two. Just I'm seeing a couple of them missing. That's it. Supta apina suṣuptau svapne apina śayita jāgare'pi jāgarti dhīrastṛptaḥ pade. The wise one is not asleep even while in deep sleep. He is not lying down even while dreaming. He is not awake even in his waking state. He is contented under all conditions. Here he is not talking about the fourth state, but we will touch upon the turiya also. How it becomes irrelevant if these revelations regarding a realized sage comes true, then how turiya is also not valid, we will see. So we will go from like we did in 45, 41 minutes meditation. We will start from the lower level and reach to the peak. So we will start to give a background. We will start with what these three states mean to a normal jiva. What does he think? What does he do? He lives, he thinks, he acts with ego. With ego. First comes the ego, the vasana, I am the body. And then vasanas, desires, attachments, ragadvesha, everything at its full brim level in the waking state, fully awake with his ego. Ego is equal to jiva. Atman is equal to jivan mukta. Clear equations. You don't have to describe a jiva. Ego is jiva. Jiva is ego. The impact of such a gross life soaked in ego, of course, is carried forward to his dream state, where he dreams all those which he had desired, to which he had developed attachment or negative attachment or fear, whatever it is. And whether he has got the experiences and fed them into his vasana, chitta, to be manifested as vasana, or the experience is still pending, but the ego propelled all these kleshas, vasanas, they are live in the waking state. So the impact of this will come in the dream state, except for Swami, except for session impact, or except for bhakti. Deep sleep is almost ruled out for such a human being who is fully lit up with his ego and vasanas in the waking state. He can never have a deep sleep, for sure. Why? Because dreams will be there. So deep sleep is not there. Now come to a jivan. These three states, Chinmaya, at the macro level, he classifies into two categories, very relevant. He says all the three states, except the Turiya, can be classified into two categories. One is non-apprehension of the reality, and next then is the misapprehension that unreal is real. Okay. Now let us take these three states of consciousness through these two categories given by Chinmaya. This non-apprehension leads to misapprehension is a very, very famous 10,000 times he would have quoted. And his BMI chart, which is always there in all his discourses. Waking state. For a Jivan Mukta, the first misapprehension, creation comes later. Other jivas come later. The first ever misapprehension of a jiva is believing in his body, that I am this body. So Acharya went on to tell you that this is the first vasana about himself. Leads to all other calamities in his life, catastrophe in his life. I am this body, this human identity. He did not say the first is avidya. 2021 August, he has taken out avidya from the sadhaka's chapter. There is no avidya for you. There is only this vasana, this misapprehension for you that I am this body. This is like such an powerful seed. Not to talk about the tree Jivan Mukta, which we covered in the other verse. With this, we are talking about the Jivahood with Vasanas, Kleshas, etc. This powerful seed of misapprehension for a Jiva that my identity, present identity is real. This mushrooms, this grows to his ego at its fullest level. And then the asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, and the vasanas, they all come as the branches of the tree. Okay. This misapprehension is not in the case of a Jivan Mukta in his waking state. Why? Because in another verse, which he has to give a session to you, we have covered that he ever exists as what? He ever exists in inward, unearthly, infinite peace, the self, the last four. So, opposite things cannot exist together. Okay, veil and needle cannot exist together. Okay, so this existence of inward, infinite, unearthly glow of godly perfection, this state and the state with the identity that I am this body, they cannot exist together. Okay. This is not the case of the movies where a hero is shown with multiple personalities. It doesn't happen in sadhana. You are only one. You are either ego or you are either self. Or you can say you are believe, you are sure that this ego is a wrong identity and you are proceeding towards self. But the self and the ego, Atman and Anatman, cannot exist together. Correct? So, for him, this misapprehension is not there. Now, coming to dream state, where sadhakas are going to get stuck up, for which he will give a solution at the end. Because if he is not compassionate, if he is not going to give you the solution, who else will give? He means Swami. If Swami does not give, who will give? Swami doesn't come in flesh and pipe. He will speak through the masters. No credit to the masters. All credit to Avatar. So, from the morning to night, just before his eyes closes and he glides into that sleep, as Amma says, glide. Those who keep on telling, I want to sleep, I want to sleep, cannot sleep. Those who glide like a child, they will glide into sleep spontaneously. So, from the morning till night, one has existed as infinite self with unearthly glow of godly perfection. The most powerful expression ever of a Jivan Mukta, given by a Jivan Mukta, Swami Chinmayananda Saraswati. Day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, if he is existing like that in the waking state, imagine, at least see him, imagine if one, the Jivan Mukta exists in the waking state from the morning to night, in that as that self, with godly perfection, then what possibly would be a vasana or a desire or an experience or the chitta memory or an unfulfilled desire or a future desire, whatever you call, what possibly could his mind, subtle mind, carry with him in his sleep to manifest in his dream? Impossible. No? This much you will all be convinced that it is impossible. Okay. Morning to night, eternally as self, existing as self. Then what will get carried off in his dream to come as a dream? So there is no dream for him. Don't get panic stricken. He will give you the solution for this. You may continue to get dream, but no problem. That doesn't demean you. So as far as the possibility of misapprehension is there, Chinmaya clubs the two states, waking state and the dream state. We have proved beyond doubt that the waking state is exactly like the dream state. Only thing is that in the dream state, the dreamer is not active, he is sleeping. In the waking state, you are awake. That is the only difference. Otherwise, exactly whatever happens in the dream state, exactly the same thing happens in the waking state for a jiva with ego. So the misapprehension, can we say like this? The misapprehension that I am real carried with him a big weight, carried with him during the waking state from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. or whatever sleeping time. This misapprehension will continue. It continues. You sleep. Your body sleeps. Your mind is not slept. Your body sleeps. Okay, body is anyway, in any way, jada, without the senses, without the mind, everything. The body sleeps, but in the waking state, the misapprehension carried by you throughout, for years together, for births together. It doesn't end when your eyelids close. It continues in the dream state, fetches you all desire, except for Swami's dream, except for a very pious dream, or except for some dreams where clearly it is a memory coming in dream. You see somebody, you watch something, you watch a temple, or you see something where there is no trace of your past experience, past vasanas in the dream at all. You just see something, it goes away. Except these two, three things, all other dreams, when you wake up until it will have the background of your vasanas, the background of your unfulfilled desires or fulfilled desires. Both of fulfilled desires carries vasana. Unfulfilled desire carries a future desire based on the past vasana. He will explain that to you. So these two things are exactly misapprehension of the reality is in the waking state and dream state, which a Jivan Mukta does not have. Okay. Now to the deep sleep. Deep sleep is in the category of non-apprehension of the self or non-apprehension of anything. You are neither aware of your awareness. Okay. You are neither aware of the misapprehension that you are this. So you are neither aware of your jivahood nor aware of the reality, at least, even though you might not have experienced, you are neither aware of the reality that I am not the jiva. My acharya has been teaching me for 10 and a half years now that I am not this jiva. I might not have become a jivan mukta. I am in between, but at least for sure, I am not this jiva. I am verily divine aham brahmasmi. Neither this apprehension is there, nor the misapprehension that I am this real. So both are not there. So in the deep sleep, even if a jiva filled with ego, if ever he is blessed with a deep sleep, far away from realization though, even then in a deep sleep, he is neither aware of Atman nor aware of Anatman. Okay, neither the session impact is carried on in the deep sleep, nor the your vasana desire misapprehension results carried on in the deep sleep. So few days or many days you may get a deep sleep. You get up next day, you have to validate. If you do not feel just before even taking your brushing your teeth, even before opening your eyes, still in the blanket, still in the bed, but you are physically you are aware, your body, mind, intellect is just starting, but body mind is starting to be aware. In that state, if you don't feel some peace, some unearthly peace, if you are blank, then you have not got the deep sleep. Deep sleep, Anandamaya Kosha. There has to be a peace due to the absence of agitation in the deep sleep. Be clear about it. Otherwise, your sleep, even without dream, is like a state where you have been given chloroform. That is not deep sleep. You can say sleep without dream, but it is not a deep sleep. Deep sleep means for that before you get up and you awaken into this world, there has to be some some peace felt by you, maybe your mind. That is deep sleep. Be very clear about the distinction between deep sleep and sleep on 1 odd days without any dream. Sleep without dream doesn't mean deep sleep. Deep sleep means you must feel this peace next day for at least fraction of seconds, minutes. Right? Now coming to the Jivan Mukta, why he doesn't have this non-apprehension? In his in his case, the dimension changes, the words change, the expressions change, the world, if you may say, change. He had given the clue in the brief, very brief talk to few sadhakas. Like in the case of Jiva, it is ulta in the case of Jiva. In the case of Jiva, what he told, morning to night before sleep, you are carrying your Jivahood, your ego, your vasanas. So in your dream, your body sleeps, they continue like that. It is exactly the opposite for a Jivan Mukta. From morning till night, he exists as in infinite peace with unearthly glow of godly perfection from morning to night. How it will get cut off in his sleep? It continues as it is. Because the sattvic, little intellect and sattvic mind is there. So that selfhood or that godhood, that Madhavahood, if you can coil an English word, that continues in his sleep. Obviously without dreams because he has no sanskara, vasana, ityadi left out. Then it is on, waking state and dream state. And when his eyelids are about to open and when he is conscious in the next day morning, even that small drop, small venue of the conscious human being awakens, he is continuing to be the same consciousness. So, consciousness, waking state, consciousness, dream state, it continuing without the time space gap when he gets up consciousness. So, there is no, he might have got the deep sleep, but there is no one in him left when the Jivan Mukta gets conscious the next day. If at all he sleeps, he might sleep for 3 hours or 4 hours. Day or day before yesterday, something happened. He slept at 2 o'clock. 5:30, dot 5:30 he was in the temple. Okay. So the conscious, continuous consciousness. Of course, in this sleep, he is not aware that he is consciousness, but he is conscious. You, everyone for that matter, everyone exists in all states of consciousness as only consciousness. But due to misapprehension, you are not aware in none of these states, sadly. But since he continues as consciousness, fortunately, no need to say unfortunately, fortunately, because he is fortune all by himself, irrespective of his prarabdha. So, without a very small fractions, with, within seconds also, he doesn't have the time-space gap where he thinks for a brief second, within fraction of second, and oh yes, I had a deep sleep. I slept like a dog, Vedantic word, log yesterday. He doesn't get that experience at all when he gets up. In this context, though he might have, definitely he would be getting deep sleep every day, but there is no conscious being in him next day when he wakes up to say, I slept like a log. I am having that peace, because that peace which you get, a jiva with ego gets when he gets the deep sleep 1 odd days, that peace for a fraction of seconds, which he explained before, that piece is a droplet, a small plastic water tank of water you fix on your house for emergency. It is like a droplet or a bucket full of a tank full of water, whereas he exists as the reservoir. The entire country's, the entire world's dam of water, that is consciousness. So there is no relevance of this small piece felt due to your deep sleep when he exists as the reservoir, as infinite consciousness. Dream sleep, waking state, consciousness. Dream state, consciousness. Deep sleep state, consciousness. Continuing next day, waking state, consciousness. No gap in between to say, I had deep sleep. So, in this context, he doesn't have deep sleep. He is not talking about him only. This is where the role of a guru in the path of jnana is there. One who has not experienced this himself cannot clearly explain you this. The literatures, Upanishads, by given Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads given by the Vishishtadvaita, Madhavacharya, and all that sets, or the Vedantas, Shankara, even the English words or whatever is your language, the words cannot explain you. When he explains how Jivan Mukta doesn't have these three states of consciousness, when you see him and when you listen to him and when you ruminate over what you have listened, then you are convinced, yes, yes. You will not get that conviction when you read the internet, this thing, or the printed books of Upanishads. This is where the relevance. Bhakti Guru is not required. You have got the God Almighty with you. You can melt like a candle in the thought of your Ishtadevata. There is nothing required. Whereas here, everything is abstract. How a human being existing with flesh and blood cannot experience anything waking state, experience anything in dream state, experience anything in deep state. How you as jiva lit up with ego, fully awake with your ego in all the three states of consciousness, how you can appreciate when some literature tell you a jiva no understand. This is where the role of Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru comes. Right? So, recapitulating, this even for a minute in the waking state, for you, benchmark for you, not recap, benchmark for you, irrespective of wherever you are. Even for a minute in waking state, one must not exist with ego as jiva. Rather, one must, in one's natural sahaja state, exist as pure existence, pure awareness, pure bliss, infinite self. This is your goal. Rather than, we learnt in another verse, rather than removal of darkness, removal of avidya, removal of ego, the state has to be absolute luminous consciousness where the darkness is ashamed. Ignorance is ashamed. Ignorance feels very belittled, very irrelevant, very meaningless to show its presence anywhere in the presence of the Koti Surya consciousness. So it is the a positive existence as conscious, luminous consciousness, which is the goal, rather than the removal of the darkness of the. You spend 10 births in this pursuit of removal of ego, you may not succeed. You how much ever ego you are having, forget it, forget it. You concentrate on existence as Satchidananda, pure. Then the darkness or no darkness will be taken care of automatically when that 1 million watts of that luminous consciousness glows. With what? With unearthly glow of godly perfection. Only then you will not get any dream. And only if these two existences are achieved, you will not get that 1 second gap next day morning to say, though you might have had deep sleep, you will not get that time to say, I slept, I had a deep sleep. Ashtavakra, Janaka in another verse, they say that they are beyond the three states of consciousness. And not only that, they are beyond the five koshas. And they are beyond the three time zones, past, present, and future. And that policeman, that file getting closed, the murderer is dead on the previous day before going to court. In that context, Janaka says in the last this thing that I don't have even prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma is also not there. For all these and for all the verses on pure existence, in all the Shrutis, in all the Vedanta treatises, including Ashtavakra Gita, only one criterion is there: exist as pure. cell in purity of awareness, purity of existence, purity of infiniteness. Without this 100 years of study of scriptures, Kani may not yield. Not that he does not see, cannot yield. Bhagavan can interfere and do anything. May not yield the required results. Practical application is only waking state is in your control. Part of the faculty is not there, body is not there in the dream state to meditate. Okay, to control. Nothing is there in the deep sleep state. So there you can say you're blessed or you are not blessed because all faculties are not available for you for the nididhyasana. Only in the waking state, you have all the faculties with you, all the equipments with you. So only waking state is in your control. If you take care of the waking state, other two states are taken care of automatically. So how do you practice in the waking state? How must practice? May not happen in day one. Keep them as the benchmark. Write them down after you listen. No experience as housewife. No experience as husband. No experience. That means you may be doing all the duties, but no gross level experience as a person performing in the career. No experience of any desire for anything in the creation. No experience of any attachment in the creation. No vasanas, past impressions at all. No future desire, future expectations. Must not think anything about material life as to what is going to happen tomorrow. In his case, if you want validation, no thought. He's pursuing, but no thought of whether the job will be there. No thought as to where he will be, which part in the globe he will settle down ultimately next year. No planning of anything unnecessary. No planning at all of where he is going to settle, which car, which house, where, which place, wow, nothing. You have to bear, okay. We will take one still till we have time. One more thing we will take up very shortly and we'll close. Because these are like dynamics, so powerful. You cannot withstand the dynamic for 1.5 hours. We'll close down early so that you are left with time for contemplation. In another words, perhaps the next chapter, 19th chapter, he says, there is no past, there is no present, there is no future, said Janaka. Interestingly, what is your past after all? Past means your vasanas related to experience gained out of desire and attachment. Except the divine, pious past that you leave it always. At worldly level as a jiva, past means vasanas related to experience gained out of. So vasana is there, desire is there. Vasanas gained out of past desire. Present is desire or attachment pushing you for a newer experience, may be pushed by vasanas or maybe fresh new desire attachment for a new experience with no vasanas. So here desire is there, vasanas may or may not be. What is future? You take these two combined, make a masala of these two. Future is expectation of some future desire fulfillment with coloring of the past vasanas. That is what is future. You have worked somewhere in the past, vasana. Future expectation of getting a similar environment. You have had a car in the past. Future expectation, vasanas combined with desire and desire fulfillment for the future. Desire fulfillment, that is future. Okay. You think of any future expectations wherever this one of the kleshas is there, ragadvesha is there, something is there. All your future thoughts of your future will be colored with your past performance. You validate everything. He has validated that what all is not there, he listed and then he validated that yes, if the past vasanas were there regarding to this, then future, whatever this list I have stuck off, this may be there. This is not there, so this is not there. Okay. Anything, family atmosphere, the kind of dresses you had in the past, the kind of position, the kind of power, the kind of wealth, okay, the kind of property, the car, the career, the environment, your mind will always carry that and hope for similar thing in the future, or if the past were negative, then your mind will have the trace of those negative experiences, impressions, and hope for those things not to get repeated in the future. Okay. For a Janaka roars to say, I have no past, present, and future, because two important ingredients in this vasanas desires, they are ruled out in his case. Even subtler to that, I am the body is ruled out in his case. So, no past, no present, no future. Though his body would have lived in the past, he's living in the present, his BMI functioning in the present, and he may have a future also. Still, quote, existing in unearthly glow, godly perfection, this self has no past, this self has no present, this self has no future. This self is not there in the waking state, this self is not there in the dream state, this self is not there in the deep sleep state. This self is not there in the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Jnanamaya, Anandamaya koshas. This self has no prarabdha karma. So, can we validate the Turiya state, or can we say, can we think on what is this Turiya state after all for Janaka? He says this in another verse. He has given you umpteen number of times that when you stand in the shelter of a cool, breezy tree and you feel that I am relaxed, I am feeling the coolness, it has the backdrop of extreme hotness to which you were exposed half an hour before. வெயில் நிழலின் அருமை வெயிலில் தெரியும். ரிவர்ஸ், நிழலை நினைத்தால் அதில் எங்கோ ஒரு மூலையில் வெயிலின் ஞாபகம் இருக்கிறது. Otherwise, why would you treat this standing under the breezy tree as very special if it is you are always in that tree only? Your kutir is there only. You are never exposed to veil. How will you feel that you are extremely having cool this thing here? Always cool. If you are existing always in the post-liberation state, you will never think about, and you will never enjoy this liberation because you have never had a trace of bondage before. So you can never think of. That is why it is said that namuktara bandha. Okay. We have crossed that beyond manifest and manifest, beyond existence, non-existence, gone. So bondage, if you say, must have been there, but you have left it as though 100 births before it was there. So the bondage thought is not there, trace is not there. So there is no feeling, there is no relevant significance for you to say that I am liberated. Exactly. Why would he build up all these things? There is a secret agenda. Okay. The fourth state of consciousness, Turiya, is relevant, has to be talked about in discourse at length if one has these three states of consciousness, if one is moving through these three states of consciousness with ego. If the three states of consciousness is not valid, Avadhuta Gita states, where is the fourth state of consciousness? Also, he says there are no four states of consciousness. Avadhuta Gita tears apart, throws apart, burns into ashes all the Vedantic treatises. No liberation is there, it says. No four Mahavakyas is there. That is why he has taken less of Avadhuta. It is too shocking to absorb. Don't have that shock absorber capacity. You may listen and you may feel it is very good, but not for pride. These things are all our practical application that you cannot apply. So where is the relevance of the fourth state, either for me, for who, the one who does not exist with the jivahood, with the ego, in the waking state, dream state, and the deep sleep state? For me, where is the relevance of the Turiya either? Last 5 minutes. This thought, if still after listening to this discourse, in the contemplation, a thought is going to be haunting you as to how I will be able to reach a state where there are no dreams at all. The compassionate master comes to your rescue, holding your hands. He has never left your hands. 4, 5 hands. He wanted to hold on to another 23 hands, but they said, useless. Let us enjoy the world, or let us enjoy our own spiritual practice the way we are, useless, and we don't want it. They only took their hands off. He never left anything. God never leaves anyone. We only leave God. God never ever forsakes anyone. That is why he is worshipped as Patita Pavanaram, one who rescued, one who is the refuge for all those who are forsaken by the world. Because here is the one who will never forsake anyone. There is no need ever to pray to God, Swami, that don't leave me. There is never any need to tell to your Acharya, whom you have accepted wholeheartedly, Master, never leave me. तनिक अंदर झांक के देखिए. You don't leave them. That's it. They will never leave. The avatar has not come, or the guru has not been given the mission. Otherwise, the would have been given the intuition to go to Himalaya, fulfill your family duties. Chub, chub, don't speak. Go. This 11-year session should not happen. When their mission is the Bible, they leave. You don't leave. 25, 50 have left. 3, 4, 5 are there. Don't leave, please. Please don't leave. So, it is not possible for you today that you have this satsang and tomorrow onwards you aspire to transcend your dreams. Not possible. It is a process. Sadhana is a process. Day on day, continuous, incessant process. No matter liberation is not attained in this, but no problems at all. The process is more important in sadhana than the result. Always. In the bhakti also. Depending upon the intensity of your nididhyasana in this session and your efforts to exist without the misapprehension in the waking state, you may still continue to have dream. But as he has already covered, when you have a dream, next day you just validate. Take it easy, get dreams, no problem. Don't immediately rush to will to be like that state. It's a process. He has gone through the process several births. And here, up to what age? Up to what age? Maybe what? 45? Yes, 45 years approximately. 45 years is not a small, but he has gone through the process, especially in the last 2, 3, 4 years. 41, 42 onwards, 43 onwards. When you next day, you before even you start go, okay, you have the brush and then go and sit. Before you sip the tea and coffee, you validate, you think whether me, the dreamer, saw in my dream anything which has the impact of my vasana, my raga, my dvesha, my abhinivesha. If you had, and your consciousness will never say a lie to you, it always will give you truth. If your experience had a trace of anything, then it is you are in the danger red zone, COVID red zone. You see, now you are in the red zone because somewhere you may not appreciate, you may not realize, but in your subconscious mind, in the waking state, you are having these things, the kleshas and the vasanas. Otherwise, you cannot get the dream with wherein the experience it has the impact of the klesha. So go back to your waking state again, intensify, solve, intensify, intensify. So today he takes back one expression in this Guru Shishya Parampara from you. What is that expression? Living moment to moment. This, one may say, has to be carried on till the end, till you get liberated. Today, on what is the date today? 28th April, 28th August 2021, 8 hours and 26 minutes. He takes back this expression from you, living moment to moment, no more. Because when you say moment, it has the time comes into the picture. Whereas self is beyond the time space object. So you give me this living moment to moment today in the context of today's four, where it is said the ultimate state of the godly perfection is the state where there is no past, present, and future. There is no waking, dream, deep sleep, and turiya. There is no prarabdha karma. There are no panchakosha, nothing. Towards that goal, give me this time related moment to moment living. It is no more living moment to moment. It is living self to self as self without any moment. Today's mantra is I have to live as self, in self, through self, as self to self. Self to self. Then only you will be in that state where the entire creation may be absolute non-self, but still for you, anyone who comes through, walks through you, you are experiencing them exactly as they are, the Jivan Mukta existing in unearthly glow of godly perfection. You experience the entire creation of beings as the exactly the same effulgent, luminous glow of godly perfection. Self, existing self, in self, through self, through usually the media to experience in the world is through senses, through intellect, through mind. Here, through self, because no other equipment is left out. As self, in self, through the medium of self, to self, experiencing everything as self. Na Giridhara Gopala, me Giridhara. Only one verse out of thousands of verses. Out of the 100 indications of 100 signs through 100 verses through the 18th chapter goal. One verse. And that too, it has some other thing. Do you exist as dhīraha without any desire, something and all it is saying? That also he has not taken. One part he has not taken. Okay. Like in the Satyam Jnana Anantam, say 8 lines, he took only one line. Purnamada Purnamadam, only one line. This is only one part of the one verse of the 100 verses showing the 100 signs of the Janma. Infinite peace, reservoir of peace, from where peace originates and splashes and grants, graces pieces to all the Mumukshu sadhakas, all those who are meditating in the entire world, whatever peace they experience. The source is the reservoir of the peace, infinite peace, which is the self, which is the Jivan. From the drop, we evolve and proceed to reach to the reservoir. From the stream, that is God's session. From the stream, proceed, evolve to reach the ocean which never dries. Prema Samaya. Hari Om. Tat.